You can do what you have to do, and sometimes you can do it even better than you think. Kia ora, I am Joseph Stevens, aka TBC Doctor. Welcome to my broadcast today here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And by the way, for those that don't know, Māori name for New Zealand or Aotearoa Māori name for New Zealand is Aotearoa. I confused myself. Which is translated as the land of the long white cloud. Today is 1st of June, and 1500 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is my 17th broadcast, and it seems like only yesterday when I did my first. So what if I'd started earlier? Yep, that's the subject today. What if? Just want to say kia ora. You can see my brother's name up there, but I know it's my sister-in-law. I'm the Barney Stevens. Today my wife and Kia Kotai are my moderators. They behave. And welcome, sis. And hello, Kimball. How are you going? What if? What if the world was flat? For starters, we'd probably have no ocean. The water would just go straight over the edge. What if animals could talk? Just watch Planet of the Apes. My wife told me not to write that down, but I did. What if when something was bad, hang on, let's rephrase that. What if something bad was about to occur and you just went, poof, and you stopped it? Like earthquakes, starvation. What else? What else can you think of? Can anybody think of anything else? What, famines? Storms? Yeah, flooding gone. What about the elite gone? What about that one? What if what God said is the day will come and the meek will inherit the earth? Would that be Judgment Day for who? What if you never had to work anymore? And had financial freedom? What would you do? Where would you go? Who would you help? Is the better question. Who would you help? Would you just help yourself? Would you help the poor? Would you help the homeless? Or the wicked? I see that Kenville for the wicked. Financial freedom would be a godsend to a lot of people throughout this world because of what has happened and what the elite have done and sitting at the top and left the rest of us with nothing. So sad. What would you do? Where would you go? Who would you help? And why would you help? If we gave you a way out, and this is just going out to those that are looking at TBC, if we gave you a way out, that would help this, that would help to heal the wounds that were created for the few, by the few.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Kimberly.
I know, because I just saw it pop up too. I'm just laughing at your yeah, awesome comment there, Kendall. And sister-in-law, you're allowed to write things in there too, because I know you.
I don't know if she's on. There's only one watcher.
Oh, really? Only Kendall.
Yeah. Good time.
And Te Kotai.
Oh no, she's not here either. Oh, two watching me. Someone's done that.
Their money shall be moth-eaten. The cries of the people will reach up to their ears of the Lord. Yep. So true. So true. All manners of disasters, you name it. If Shirley turns up. Anyway, there are 20 sort of things based on, fact-based. Look at 20 things that poor do on a daily basis. The first thing is they search for affordable housing. Yep. I know how that feels when you've got nothing. During that time, poor families either have to make do with substandard or dangerous housing, or they depend on the hospitality of relatives, or just go homeless. In the case over here in New Zealand, they put you up in camping grounds and sometimes even tents. And yes, and now they've brought in motels. What?
The New Zealand government.
I've already said that. Affordable housing. With the price of rentals over here too, starting to skyrocket. It's getting ridiculous, and we can do something about it. TBC can do something about this. We can sort all of this out, and it's not hard. Try to make number two. Try to make $133 worth of food last a whole month. G'day, Bitcoin Scott. Try to make $133 worth of food last a whole month when you've got nothing. That's what poor people do. They try to make $133 a week last a whole month. Imagine trying to eat well on, say, $4.50 a day. Imagine trying to eat on something like that. It's not easy, which is why many are impoverished families resort to, and this is the third one, live on poor quality food. Okay? Not because they want to, but because they can't afford high quality stuff. They can't afford the nutritious foods. They're trapped in the food system that subsidizes processed foods. And a lot of those processed foods are really not even good for you. And that makes them artificially cheaper than natural food. We're pretty lucky over here in New Zealand where we've got resources like the beaches, and we dive for our food or fish, hunt. We've got a lot of resources over here, so we're pretty lucky when it comes to that. In other words, what we say in New Zealand is no family should be starving, but it's the housing crisis that occurs over here that is the big thing. And yeah, poor people, poor, because a lot of the wages aren't really that high.
Sure.
Another one that knows how to talk Māori now. Bitcoin Scott, kia ora. Yeah, kia ora, bro.
Yeah, Bitcoin Scott.
So the poor are really forced to eat bad food, if they're lucky. If they're lucky, that is, as we know, when Marianne and James and them visited Uganda, a little child doesn't even know what a lolly looks like, let alone smell and taste like. Number 4 on the agenda: poor people skip a meal. Which means, among other things, that they're sometimes forced to go without eating. No food, hardly any food in the cupboards, and they try to make it stretch. So a lot of them are forced to say have one meal a day, if that, or have a meal, have one meal every second day. Pretty harsh. A lot of poor people work longer and harder than most, and well, it's popular to think that poor people that people are poor because they're lazy. Why would they be working 2 to 3 jobs? Like Diana said in the chat, on both chats actually, which I was watching, which was John Harder's and Randy's, she said that her flatmate works 3 jobs. I myself had to work 3 jobs at one time. Yeah. I was teaching from 8 till 4 o'clock in the morning. I was teaching Microsoft, and then from 4 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night, I was a technician. So I was doing that job, and then on the weekends, I was a security guard, or whenever I was needed, I was a security guard for them, for armour guard over here in New Zealand. And that was most weekends taken up. So my day was full and my weekends were gone. So poor people are lazy. I think that was just one person's point of view. And I think that person was, I think that was coming from a rich person saying that poor people were lazy. If you're trying to make ends meet, you got to do what you got to do. It's not easy to handle everything and live on a low wage and try and pay mortgages or rents, or if you are paying off a car, that's added in. Then you add the power bills in, and then you add endless stuff. And if you're taking out loans, you've got to pay those back as well. You know, the poor actually work longer than the rest of us. Well, the rest, I wouldn't say us. I'd say the poor actually work longer and harder. More than 80% of impoverished children have at least one parent who works around 60% of the time. And the other one is full-time. My wife says, which is sad, no time for family, and the children miss out on time with their parents. Yeah. The people have to do what they have to do. Exactly. If we all got paid what we were really worth, we'd only need one job. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks, Scott. So why is it that the poor work longer hours than the so-called job creators who disappear home when they want to? They even go to, number 6, they even go to bed 3 hours before their first job starts. And hello, they get home. They probably only have about half an hour to an hour, and then boom, they're asleep. 3 hours later, they're up again and gone. You wonder why a lot of people look so weary and drawn out and tired and had it. Because who are we to judge people? Who are we to judge poor people? Wake up 3 hours before we start work versus the 3% of the poor. It may be true to most people that most people don't wake up 3 hours before work starts. It may be true. But that could be because they're more likely to work multiple jobs, in which case job number 1's probably just getting to bed 3 hours just before job number 2 starts. I remember when I was working at the Wellington Hospital, and I would be on night shift, and I'd get home around 7 o'clock in the morning. I get a phone call. About half an hour later, just as I was going to sleep, bro, can you come into work? Now, blah, blah, blah hasn't turned up. I'd go, yep. Go in and start again on another 8-hour shift with no rest. That shift would finish, and just as I was about to leave, boss would come up and say, can you do the midnight shift or the afternoon shift from 4 o'clock till whatever? I'll go, is there no one else? I've only had half an hour sleep. And they go, no. Oh, well, yep, I'll do it. So I was actually turning weeks into weekends and weekends into weeks as in hours. So I was probably punching up over a weekend, about 84 hours on a weekend. So I know what long hours are. Absolutely know what long hours are. I was doing the same thing in Aussie, driving trucks. Bad, but yeah, I know I did it. But I never had. I actually only had one accident over in Aussie in a truck, and that was 12 years in a truck driving over there in one accident. Anyway, number 7, try to avoid getting beat up by someone they love. Ooh. According to some estimates, half of all homeless women in America ran away to escape domestic violence. And that happens here too in New Zealand, a lot of domestic violence. But I think it's slowly dying down, which is, I hope, is good. So do you see a lot of homeless people, a lot of homeless women on the streets? Number 8, put themselves in harm's way, only to be kicked to the streets afterwards. How else do you explain 63,000 homeless veterans, and that's in the States? Go and fight for their countries, and then they end up getting booted to the streets. That's harsh. TBC is our independence and its abundance. We'll utilize that. Scott, we are going to utilize that big time. Number 9, pay more than their fair share of taxes. Yep. Some conservative pundits and politicians like to think the poor don't pay their fair share. That they are merely takers. While it is true the poor don't pay as much in federal income tax, usually because they don't earn enough to qualify. And the rich do. Do the rich pay tax though? Do that top 5 elite pay tax? I bet they don't. That's why they're running everything. They do pay sales tax, payroll tax, etc. Well, this is all in the States. In fact, the bottom 20% of the earners pay twice as much in taxes as a share of their income as do the top 1%. That's coming out of the Institute of Taxation and Economic Policies, January 2013. Anyway, number 10, fall further behind. Number 10. Even when poverty is the result of poor decision making, often it's someone else's choice that make the difference. If you experience poverty as a child, you are 3 to 4 times less likely to graduate high school. It's a load of crap. If you spend your entire childhood in poverty, you are 5 times less likely to graduate, which means your future has all been, your future has been all but decided for you. Anybody know of anyone that's like that? Well, I don't. A child's future. Number 11 is raise kids who will be poor. A child's future earnings are closely correlated to their parents' earnings. In other words, economic mobility. The idea that you can claw your way out of poverty if you just try hard enough is more often than not a myth. Poor people are, and number 12 is vote less. Probably don't like the government. Number 13 is when do they vote? When they do vote, they vote pretty much the same as the rest of us. Yep. Live with chronic pain. Okay, if that's over in the States, then our health system's better than that, because we pay a levy over here, which means our health is, our hospitals are free. It's so wrong how we live in a rigged system. Yeah, slavery society, yeah. And how they treated human beings as cattle and traded in the stock market. So go way back. Go back to the slavery days of when they used to take people from different countries, and more so like from Africa, when they took a lot of people out of Africa and they made them slaves. And where was that? In the southern of America, in the south of the States, in the cotton area, where people like DuPont and that were running the country and creating dangerous pesticides and that for their cotton. And there's another one, number 16, the drugs and alcohol, pretty much the same or less than everyone else. What do you reckon? Well, my opinion is that I reckon the rich drink a lot more because they can afford it, and they can afford the top grade drugs. Yeah, if a poor person is an alcoholic and he's trying to find a drink, he'll steal to get a drink. But a rich person doesn't have to do that. He just go home at the end of the night into his cabinet, open up, a couple of bottles of bourbon later. So who's the alcoholic? Well, they blame the person on the street. He's the alcoholic because he looks drunk. Or that person over there, because he's got a lot of needle marks on his head, he's a druggie, or she's a druggie. but they don't look at themselves when they've got that white powder crap on their credit card. So who abuses what? Number 17, received less in subsidized benefits than corporations. Now, the United States government spends around $60 billion on public housing and rental subsidies, and this is over in the States. So they say they spend a lot on their people over there, but how come there's so many homeless people? Get themselves off welfare as soon as possible. Despite the odds, the vast majority of beneficiaries leave the welfare rolls within 5 years, even in the absence of official welfare to work programming. Most welfare recipients enroll in some sort of vocational training, and that's what they do here too. When we're on, if we're on benefits and that over here, and once you're fit for work, or you've just got to get off the welfare because it doesn't pay much anyway. But a lot of us got training. I did when I was learning to become a computer technician, and then I jumped on welfare and did a few courses. That's what's happened to the money, yeah. Yeah, put it back in their own pockets. Yeah, well, and you wonder why they got so many homeless. Yeah, I sort of stopped giving to a lot of charities because I think, hang on, who's after a new car? There's not very often you see where the money's going to or what's happened. Then all of a sudden you see a nice new store pop up. Oh, okay, that was from that charity. Got a nice new store. You can see things like Greenpeace doing their job because they're out on the waters all the time. You can see Salvation doing their job because they're out on the streets all the time. Red Cross show up every now and again, but those are about the only three that I see all the time. So number 19, have about the same number of children as everyone. No, poor people do not have loads of children just so they can stay on welfare. Hello, Mary Ann. Welcome to my broadcast. Number 20, 10% going to charity, 90% going into their pockets. Yeah, that's what happens to the money. Yeah, this is why I don't give to many charities. You get to the Cancer Society, and they know they know there's cures out there, but what are they doing with the money? People have been giving to the cancer societies for years, but what are they doing with the money? More research, more research. There's only a couple of things they have to research. Marijuana is a cure. Hemp is a cure. Kia ora, Sharon. How much research do you need to fix cancer when you've got marijuana or hemp oils as a cure? That's why I don't really give too many charities, because you really don't see where the money is going to. And as I said, Red Cross, I do. Salvation Army, yes. And because I see them out on the streets all the time, Salvation Army. Red Cross, well, you see them on the news all the time. What was the other one? It was 3. There was 3, but yeah. Exactly. If they give you the cure, there's the money. But who stops them? Pharmacies. Pharmacies stop that. Um, 20. Accomplish one single goal. Stay alive.
Bang on.
They're not in the business of curing patients or people. They're in the business of making money. You're right. Accomplish one single goal. Stay alive. Exactly. Stay alive. Poverty and, well, this is go. I've been reading off an article which has got 20 for those that have just joined, and and mostly it comes from the States, and it was to pull down a guy called David Ramsey. It was a rich evangelist, and all he does is he teaches rich people, or he teaches people how he got rich. That's all he does, and he does it by pulling down the poor. And here's the one that came up with that, saying that all poor people are lazy. Not true. Especially when some poor people are doing 3 or 4 jobs. That's not lazy. Poverty in America may not be as dire as poverty in other parts of the world, like Uganda, Inland, Bangladesh, and places like that. Look how many people are suffering from cancer, but yet there are still lies and secrets involving the cure of cancer. We need to stay alive and eradicating so much. We need to claim our lives back. Yes. Yes, Mary Ann, we do. You know, it's the cure. Yeah, if my older brother had done what I asked him to do, he'd still be here. But he took the other way, and he lost the battle. Actually, the pill they give you is to help medicate one. Yeah, exactly. The pills that they give you, and it's about 3 or 4 of them, and one counteracts one, which counteracts another, which counteracts another, and one just to stop the headaches from counteracting all of those. I saw the bunch. I saw the bottles on the older brother's dressing table. There was another one with my dad, and the doctors diagnosed him as an asthmatic. My dad was never ever an asthmatic, and the doctor diagnosed him as an asthmatic, but he wasn't. He actually had pneumonia, similar symptoms. And by the time they'd realised what they'd done, it was just too late. They'd already stained his lungs with the asthma, what we got, the asthma bomb? Ventilator. It was just too late. They'd already stained his lungs. So, yeah, it wrecked my dad, who could carry fence posts around and up hills, and he could do a lot of things, to only taking a couple of steps at a time, and he was puffed. So a pharmaceutical society and some doctors have got a lot to answer for in things like this. If a doctor diagnosed you with cancer, he gets paid. The pharmaceutical society pays him. If he diagnoses you with the flu, he doesn't get nothing. But if he diagnoses you with cancer, he gets paid. The police wish you are a criminal to lock you up. The lawyer hopes you get in trouble to represent you in court, and it goes on. But the thief wish you get rich so he can rob you in the system. True, the elite trains money, as Marianne said, and the other one came from Kenville. True. Yep, it is all about the money train, no matter how you look at it. So these are the real habits of the poor, or are they? These are the real habits of the poor, those with whom Jesus identifies most closely. Jesus always hung around with the poor. Did he hang around with the rich? No, because the rich didn't even want to know him. Those elite people just didn't want to know him. So he did what he did to help the poor. Eat what you grow is the best thing. Start eating healthy and growing your food yourself in your backyard and front yard. And this is one thing that company called Monsanto are trying to do in the States, or have been doing in the States, and that if you try to grow your own vegetables and that in the States, excuse me, they are allowed to come in there with guns, rip out everything, and if you try to stop them, they are allowed to shoot you. Because they are saying that they have got patent on your food that you're growing because they think you're going to be selling it. They're a part of that elite. And a lot of people in the States have been battling that. And I think they've been battling it for the last 10 to 15 years now. Yes, they pay to push the drugs to kill you. They can't put it into anybody's hands just to kill you. What if we were on a level playing field with the elite? Think about that one. Level playing field. Tell you what, they wouldn't run past me. I just wouldn't let them. A level playing field. Yes, and we did that back. We did that a lot. We grew our own food. When I was growing up, used to help my granddad sow a paddock with watermelon, cabbage, potatoes, pumpkin, everything you could eat. And then when it was time to pick it, everyone was there. And they can't stop that. They can't stop people from growing their own. I'd like to see Monsanto come over here and try and do that to us. I think they've tried to put a foothold in New Zealand, but yeah, I think they've got the shot. Yeah, they got the boot. But imagine if we're on a level playing field with the elite. By the way, I like Randy's wave. And what if we lived our lives in precious harmony with each and every one of us equal? And that's the end of my subject. But what if we all lived our lives in precious harmony, each and every one of us equal? I think about that every day. Every one of us living as equals, and no one being wealthy above the other. Oh, by the way, on the back of my jersey it says number 11, Jonah Lomu. So, with what's been happening in the last few days with Mr. Doc Dan and his wife and the Philippine Society of the 110 tribes, the future could look even better. And I got a rugby jersey from the French player who played against Jonah in the World Cup as well. I got the Frenchman's jersey. What was I saying? I've forgotten what I was saying. Oh. There are dictators out there trying to control us. It's from my wife. Yeah, I was talking about Doc Dan, wasn't I?
Uh-huh.
And what they've done for their tribes. Imagine what we could do here in New Zealand with just the Māori race. Just our own. I've got a few contacts out there. But I'd rather the whole of New Zealand be one rather than divided to have our own separate currency. It would, well, for starters, we wouldn't have a debt, would we? We will achieve our freedom with TBC thanks to thank you to our admin, yeah. I think I read like James. Skip a word. Yeah, so I think there's endless possibilities of what we can do now because of what's happened. And if we just put our brains together with all of us working a plan and maybe just putting it all together with to see what we all come up with. Maybe just having a big Zoom conference without having a on YouTube may help with us all putting something together. It may help us to not just get the message across, but to form a big, huge plan on how to approach governments who you'd think would be willing to listen. And I'm sure our Prime Minister may be a person that might listen because she's the first Prime Minister, or she's the youngest Prime Minister to ever be in, to ever hold government. What happened? Did you disappear, Kotai? Yeah, so I think our Prime Minister would be really approachable, and I think she may be open to listening. I may have a plan on that. And if New Zealand went global with TBC, well, would Australia follow? I don't think so.
Nah.
I don't think Australia would follow straight away, because I think the states would probably be the last to even think about it. Yes, our lives will change, and we must work together. 1 billion united. Yes, Marianne. So, anyway, with that, I am going to say we'll catch you later, and we'll go out with a bit of a Māori song for all of my wahine. Anyway, kia ora people. Thanks for joining my broadcast. It's been heavy. It's been happy having a big audience or big support. A lot of support from the people I've been supporting. Have been, I'm getting it back in full now. So, as they say, what goes around comes around. Happily. So, on behalf of my wife and this is Joseph Stevens and Sandy Stevens. We are trusted sellers of the Billion Coin, and if you need any information, have a look down here. Okay, hit the show me and GAP. God always provides. Thank you all for coming. Love you all. Peace. This is Joe Stevens signing off. TTFN, tata for now. And see you tomorrow, I hope. Hillbilly always says, yo, come back now, you hear? Bye-bye.